Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Off Street webinar. We will give it a few seconds here while folks are joining. Feel free to drop in the chat where you're tuning in from today. I am personally joining today from the sunny but cold Off Street headquarters here in Regina, Saskatchewan. It's sunny, but I have to complain it's cold yet again. Nice to see you, Katrina from Kentucky. Michigan State in the house. We got Baltimore. Love to see this, you guys. Okay, San Diego, Akron, Ohio, UNLV. Awesome. Okay, so it's great to see some friends and some new friends in the chat today. For those that I haven't met yet, my name is Kyle and I am on the marketing team here at Offstreet. We've got a nice quick session lined up today. We're keeping this one to about 30 minutes, super practical, no fluff, and hopefully as entertaining and engaging as possible. And as always, if you have questions at any point, drop them in the Q&A or down in the chat. We'll get to them either live with you or in the follow-up afterwards. So let me set the stage here about what we're getting into today. So let's get into the fun stuff. Let's talk about everyone's favorite thing, summer. Now, I'm sure you're all aware that summer on campus is very different. You've got youth camps, athletic programs, sometimes there's enrichment programs, parents coming on and off campus, dropping children off, staff that are only there for a few days or a few weeks or whatever that looks like. And somehow your team, your parking team, has to make all of that work. Well, you have operational complexities, you have a manual workload, and you might even have some system limitations. And all this leads to parking teams ending up spending hours managing your permits for programs that only run a few weeks throughout the summer. So, today we're going to break that down a bit. What actually makes summer programs difficult from a parking perspective, what better setup looks like, and then we'll show you how you can actually manage this inside something like Offstreet. But I'm not going to do that all by myself. I'm going to bring someone in who I'm sure you all know and love. She is the biggest Swiftie I know, and I think she would love it if everyone dropped their favorite Taylor Swift song in the chat right now so she can get a read on what kind of crowd we're working with today. Mine personally is the all too well 10-minute version. I'm not sure what Emma's is, but we'll get it from her. Now, Emma has been with Offstreet for almost 5 years, and summer camps feel like a culmination of a lot of requests we've had for functionality over the years. We will get into those complexities in a second, but for now, let's say hi to Emma.
Hey Kyle, thanks for outing me like that.
I have to, right? Looks like there's a lot of, well, Elizabeth Taylor is someone's favorite.
Okay, we have one person.
But we need to know yours.
I think that's an impossible question. Uh,
Okay,
Shaking
wait,
Off Love
maybe the one
Story.
you're listening to the most right now.
I think that because it's felt like a long winter, I'm back into the Tortured Poets Department anthology. So anything on that album right now.
Yeah, okay. I think I might know a couple from there. I'm not sure. A lot of Opalite in the chat. I think I heard that one in the office this morning. And the entire Red album. Okay, love to see it. Emma, you are in the trenches on this stuff with a lot of campuses, so I'm going to ask you some questions here. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, first one. When campuses are looking for help managing summer programs, what are the most common challenges that they describe to you?
Yeah, so summer programs are a really busy time for parking teams. There's just a high volume of, yeah, camps and different programs happening across campus. What makes them unique is that they don't really fit into a standard permit structure. And so often when we are talking to customers, camps are spanning over multiple days or multiple weeks. Schedules can change day to day or week to week, and you have multiple stakeholders. So there's the staff running the program, parents needing pickup and drop off access, and parking just ends up needing to support a lot of different use cases all at once. And so I'd say the biggest challenge we hear is just having a solution that's flexible enough to accommodate all of that without creating more manual work for the parking team.
Yeah, no summer camp or activity happening on campus is the same. So good notes on that. Going into my second question here. What does a better setup look like for parking teams that are managing these programs?
Yeah, I think when it comes to these more complex events, which summer programs typically fall into, the challenge is that a lot of existing tools just aren't designed for that level of flexibility. So, what we see is teams having to work around their systems. What that looks like today is often using physical permits, blocking off spaces, pausing enforcement, all of which aren't ideal, especially when campuses have already invested in virtual permits and LPR to improve efficiency. So typically, a better setup would allow departments to issue digital permits for these programs while still giving the parking team control over when someone is valid, where they can park. And of course, the key piece is ensuring that all of that would feed into their LPR systems in real time to prevent citations and just keep enforcement running as normal. We also know that a lot of these requests come in last minute, so teams need to create events quickly, make updates on the fly, and not rely on someone else to make changes or their vendor. So really, it's just about having a system that supports complex, time-based permits and gives teams full control while keeping everything centralized and digital. It's not that much to ask for.
You wouldn't think so,
But
eh?
yeah, and then of course having access to reporting and data and all of that fun stuff. But I think the biggest shift we hear is just wanting to move everything into a system that can actually support these use cases.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Okay, going into my last question here for you. Before we jump into the walkthrough or the demos that you're going to give us today, what are the key things a parking team typically needs to configure for a summer program?
Yeah, most schools already have some version of an event or parking request form. That's where you're collecting all the key details for the program, the event, the camp, etc. And so typical inputs in that form would be the date and time of the event, how many expected attendees there are, any department or account info for billing, whether it's an internal or an external group, um, and usually some other custom information that they're asking for. So the information is usually there, but the challenge is what happens next. So what happens today are a lot of manual steps like issuing physical permits, notifying enforcement, or re-entering that information into another system. So it can become pretty time consuming and repetitive. One thing I'll quickly call out because we're really excited about it is that we actually have a native requests feature coming into Offstreet. It's expected to launch on Monday, so keep an eye out. What this does is allow parking teams to collect all that information directly within Offstreet, and instead of manually creating the event, it can automatically generate based on the submission. So it removes a lot of that duplicate work and helps standardize the process. It's been a really highly requested feature, especially as we move into a little bit more automation. So we're excited to finally bring that to life. But if you're excited to learn more, definitely reach out to your account manager.
How exciting. Okay. Awesome. For those of you that are new and you're wondering what's going on in the chat, that was all people saying what their favorite Taylor Swift song is. Just thought I'd let you guys know because there is quite a bit of people here right now, and I don't know if they caught that. But all right, instead of just talking about all of this, Emma, let's actually show it. So before the webinar, for everyone that was registered, we asked you guys leading up to the webinar, what were some summer camp use cases you guys were interested in exploring, looking to fix, or just learn more about? And so now Emma is going to showcase some of those high requested ones that we got from you guys.
Perfect. Thanks,
Take it away.
Kyle. Yeah, so like Kyle said, it was really exciting. This was our first time sort of polling our registered attendees to see what you wanted to uh, see in a demo from us. And so we got a lot of responses and sort of grouped them into a few different buckets. So the first bucket we have is pickup and drop off permits specifically for parents. The first demo I'm going to pull up is a live check-in flow. So in this scenario, Kyle, maybe just let me know you can see that.
Yeah, you can see it. Looks
Perfect.
great.
So in this scenario, we were asked specifically if when a parent is coming to campus, if they can just register upon arrival, be valid for 30 minutes, sort of in a drop-off zone, and then be able to use this link twice per day. And so that's what we've configured here. a pickup drop-off permit with a live check-in feature. So as you can see, it's pre-scheduled just to be 30 minutes from now. I would enter my license plate number, my email for confirmation, and click park. And that's it. That's our signal to send this plate information over to your LPR systems through our API integration. And the parent would then be able to walk little Johnny into their camp or program that they're going to. Um, Super simple. And then in the back end, we can configure additional rules that essentially say this vehicle 752JHG can only register twice in a day and it can reset each day of the conference. This link is only valid during the dates of the conference or the, sorry, program. And yeah, there's a lot of other flexibility we can do, but this is just one example that was requested.
Hmm, love it.
I see we have a raised hand potentially.
Good question. Yes, we will open. Sorry, Emma, I'll let you open it up for questions, but we will be doing opening up for questions after the demos here as well, so we can get to those.
Perfect. So then the other scenario, just making sure you can see me switched off to the preset days and times. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. The other scenario that we requested was rather than having them check in every time that they come to campus to either pick up or drop off little Johnny, instead, they are just pre-registering for pre-scheduled days and times. So in this scenario, we have a camp running May 18th to 20th, and the drop-off periods will be 9 a.m. till 9:30 and 3 till 3:30. And so you can see all of that is pre-configured here. Again, exact same flow. Enter your license plate number. We have it configured so that if there are a couple of parents, you could add two vehicles to this permit and enter your license plate number for the confirmation, click park, and again, good to go. Another highly requested feature was the ability for, especially when people are pre-registering for permits, the ability for them to come in and edit their plate information after the fact. So from their confirmation email, they can access this screen and come in and edit their license plates if they need to.
Wonderful.
So that's sort of our two pickup drop-off scenarios that were requested, but I think we can probably open up to some questions on this now.
Absolutely.
I will maybe just say we're getting into multi-week camps and we have a paid scenario to show you as well. So if you've questions about that, maybe save them, but anything sort of related to what we just went through, we're happy to answer some questions now.
Perfect. Okay, I'll start with looks like Jose in the chat. He said, "Can the license plate be validated from a list?"
Good question. I'm assuming the idea here with that would be that you want some sort of security or control in place so that unauthorized folks aren't able to register for a permit for these camps. In which case, you can let us know if that's a correct reading of that or not. But um, you can't input a list of authorized plates today. What we would normally see is adding like a security code to ensure that only people who have the code are able to use the link. There's another few other restrictions. You can limit the amount of times that the link can be used, the days and times that it's available. You can layer on a code, like I said, and if you have a list of unauthorized vehicles, such as like existing permit holders, you could import that into what we call our deny list so that they wouldn't be able to use this link. So sort of the opposite of what you said, but uh, those are sort of what we have available today.
Sounds good. Looks like you read it correctly too. Jose said correct. Ryan asked in the Q&A, he said, "Can you explain what the live check-in feature is and how it is set up?"
Yeah. So essentially what we're calling a live check-in is just allowing or configuring a link so that a guest, when they arrive, they fill out their license plate information and they're valid for a set amount of time from the moment that they arrive. We could also allow them to choose their length of stay, but in this scenario, the request was I have somebody coming to drop off little Johnny at camp, I want them to enter their license plate when they get there and be valid for 30 minutes in the drop-off zone. And so that's what the live check-in is in this case, but it's quite flexible depending on how you want it to work or how long they'll be staying.
Okay. We've got lots of questions here, actually. Okay, Mayra is wondering, can we see the back end of this? Meaning, how do we allow users to add two vehicles under one registration?
Yes, absolutely. So you can see any vehicles that have been registered in the back end. Let me just pull it up here. So you can see the plate that I did just this morning, listed in the back end dashboard. So yeah, you have full access to view all of that.
And then while you're in the back end, Robert was wondering, can we see the rules you have used for this?
Yeah, for sure. So, if you're an existing customer, you've probably heard us talking a lot about this idea of permit types. We have this set up in a beta environment right now to show you what's possible. It's coming very, very soon. But as you can see, the backend settings essentially are saying when the parker is registered, they're valid for 30 minutes. And I've restricted registration ability availability for this link to be from March 1st till May 20th. That was just me playing around, totally customizable, but that's what the back end looks like for the live check-in flow.
Okay, here, one more from Whitney. She's wondering, oops, sorry, the chat is moving. If both
Oh,
parents enter plates, are both cars permitted at the same time?
great question. Okay, so no, it depends on our API integration, but no, they would only be allowed to have one plate scanned at a time. So yeah, and then I think Myra or Mayra, how do you allow for registration of multiple vehicles? We have a setting also on this page where you can see max plates per permit. So we can increase that up to 4 plates on a single permit. Only one can be valid at a time, but it just gives them flexibility to have multiple parents or grandparents on the same permit.
Okay. All right, we have a few more, but I'm not sure how long your next demo is, Emma. If you want to move into the next one, we can get back to these questions following that one.
Okay, sounds good. We can move into some of the multi-week camp demos now. So, a couple of examples we have set up here, a camp spanning across multiple weeks in May. And in this scenario, the Parkers are valid for every single week. And so you can see we have it set up May 11th to 15th, 18th to 22nd, and 25th to 29th. They're valid to park in either of these two lots, lot one or two. Again, exact same flow. They just enter their license plate number, their email for the confirmation, and click park. And that's our signal to send this data over to your enforcement. It's all available in the back end. Guests can edit their plate if they need to. As long as the event hasn't started yet, they would also be able to cancel their permit. Both of those settings are optional. If, as a administrative team, you don't want to allow them to do that, you can definitely disable it as well. On this example, we also attached a campus parking map. I know lots of these parents, their kids probably aren't in university yet, so they're not quite familiar with the campus. And so it can be nice to just include some more know before you go information to make them feel comfortable when they arrive. So that is a multi-week example where the Parker is valid for all of the dates. I do have another example of a multi-week camp where the user selects which dates they're coming. So maybe they're not coming for week one, two, and three. The camp is running across 3 weeks, but people will sign up for one of the weeks. And in this scenario, they would just select which week they're coming for. So I'll select week one. And again, exact same flow. Enter the plate number, enter the email, and click park. And that's it.
Simple.
Yeah, so those are a couple of the multi-week examples we had set up. I can pause here for questions again.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna run back Here we got one from Erica, a little bit more related to the previous demos, but can both live check-in and preset day/times options be on the same link?
Yes, I believe so. So when you're configuring these, each option gets set up in its own with its own settings. So this is option one. When you go to select option two, you can add specific dates, the date range, or the flexible time rules, which we just set up. But yeah, completely customizable there.
Okay. Cristobal is wondering, with a high volume of parkers in a short span of time, accessible stalls become an issue if parents register in advance. Do they have an option to request accessibility parking? If so, this would allow parking to meet those demands. Also, his favorite Taylor Swift song is I, the one I that is ending.
Is that a jab, Cristobal? The one that is ending? Because that is, I don't think a Taylor Swift song, so I'm assuming you mean when it's coming to an end on the radio. Um, yes,
Yeah.
great question. You can add additional information fields to any of these links. So if somebody wanted to request accessible stalls, you could allow them to make that request when they're registering, and it would go to your team to then block off a space or make that available to them. Uh, yeah, I think that would be the way that we could accommodate it in off street. We can't obviously block the stall, but we can definitely collect that information for them to tell you they need it and then for you to notify your team on the ground.
Okay. Kyra is wondering, can you show how to have an event permit be valid immediately, like from your first pickup/drop off example?
Yes, so you're wondering how to set that up, I'm assuming.
I think so.
Okay, so what I have set up in our backend is only available, okay, yeah, yes, for our beta customers right now. We can accommodate this for you today. I'm not going to go through it in this example, but if you reach out to your account manager, they'll be able to set that up with you and show you how to do it today.
Cool. Okay. Kennedy is wondering for multi-day camps/events, where people are coming multiple days but are registering each day, will there be an option to select multiple days at a time, or will it always be one at a time?
Great question. Okay, so today, um, it's a one or the other, but and our product team I know is listening in on this webinar. The multi-choice basket functionality is coming very soon. We expect it to be this year. So, um, yeah, if that is something you'd like to see, put it in the chat and we can advocate for it to come really soon. Right now, there are some workarounds in just customizing the options you have available. Uh, but yeah, so that's a highly requested feature and we're working on it.
Lots of love for the basket option in the chat. We're gonna have to fight for that one. Okay. Another question up here from Whitney. If someone edits or deletes their plate, what saves in the history/backend for reporting?
Yes, great question. Why don't we go through that in real time? Let's do this. So if I enter my plate, for some reason I always seem to go click the same keys. So let me just make sure that I do something different there.
That's really ages.
Uh, okay, so I just registered this plate. Oh, I need to use a different one. Sorry, a pre-scheduled one. Uh, okay. Registering this plate. It's before the event has happened. So 523 is the beginning of the permit. I'm going to click cancel. Sure you want to delete. I'll cancel the permit. Now in the back end, I will come into that event. So I'll go to my event list here. That was the pickup, drop off, preset days times one. And I'm going to include voided. And so here you can see that that plate was registered, but the Parker had voided it.
So it still shows up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, another question here, one from Felicia. Is it possible to have more than one drop-off and pickup location? So if the drop-off location is in lot 3, but the pickup location is in lot 4.
Yes, yes, you can. And so there's a couple of ways you can do it. If you were optimizing for simplicity, you can do something similar to how we have the multi-week camp set up, where they're just valid in both spots at both times, technically. The other option, which I have set up in another example, is you can have a pickup option. You can essentially you can customize the locations where each option is valid. So option one in this case is valid in lot one, option two is valid in lot two, and option three has the user able to select from either lot one or lot two. So it's pretty customizable in that sense. Let me know if that answers the question or not, but
Okay.
long story short, yes. Okay,
And then
see thumbs up. Perfect.
going back a bit, Mayra, I think, was clarifying. I meant, how do you allow for a registration to have multiple vehicles? Just have to.
Uh, Yes, I think we went over that one. I did see that. Let me know if you have any further questions on that. It's just a setting that you turn on in the event. Okay, I think while we're waiting for any more to trickle in, what I can do is show another example. Um, I think some of our customers are aware we do offer payments now, so we're super excited about that. In this scenario, I've included a bit more functionality and sort of the security options you can include. So in this paid event example, we have maybe the event staff who are going to be paying a discounted rate for daily parking for the camp, and then a parent pickup and drop off pass, which will be free to the parents. And so you can see in the options that the event staff are valid to park in lots one and two, where there's maybe more capacity, and they're valid for the whole day. It's going to be a $5 permit. Whereas the parent pickup and drop off pass is in lot three, which is technically the drop off zone in this case, but they're only valid to park 9 a.m. till 9:30 and then 3:30 till 4. So I'll select the event staff example, enter a license plate number, email, and then I've also requested a code on this example. So just to show you the security we can add to these links. And then finally, it'll bring them up to a payment screen to pay for their parking. If it's on a browser that's been used before, you can save your credit card using link, or you can use Google Pay, Apple Pay as well. But I'll use that for now. And yeah, that's an example of off-street payments and how easy it can be.
Awesome. We did get a couple more questions in here.
Okay.
One from Cristobal again. Can the multi-week camp permit allowing users to register for different days be used year-round for a type of flex permit allowing for work from home options, turn on parking only when I'm in the office?
Interesting. Okay, let me just read this again. So, multi-week permit, allow users to register for different days, year-round for type of flex permit. I believe yes. Especially once we have our basket functionality, but there's a few different ways we could accommodate that, Cristobal. I think the best thing would be to talk to your account manager, and go through all the options, but there's a few different things we could set up for a flex permit like that.
Awesome. And Melissa is wondering, can you create permission to park in certain zones as opposed to parking lots?
Yes. So we map our zones and locations to what you have set up in your enforcement. So what we're hearing a lot with new customers is that maybe they have lot one, but there are certain stalls in the lot that are zoned for staff and students. So when enforcement goes through, they're either flipping between scanning for student plates or staff plates, as an example. And we can match that setup so that your enforcement is consistent.
Good question. Kyra is wondering, is the payment processor fee only applied to the guest, or is this something our organization can take on instead of guests?
Yeah, great catch. In that example, I did charge the taxes and fees to the customer, but it's completely customizable. The processing fee can be charged to the customer, or you guys can eat that cost, and you can also layer on custom taxes depending on your state and what rules you have.
Wonderful. Okay. Right on time. That's all the questions we have. And I assume
Okay.
that's all the demos you have. Uh,
Yes, that's the most of them. If you have any other questions or want to see additional demos, we're happy to, yeah, go through a more custom example for you or your campus.
Absolutely. So before we kind of show up our information on the screen, we're going to ask you a quick question here with a poll. We want to know, would you like to meet? If you want to do this custom demo, or just talk through what your programs look like this summer and see how your account manager can help you with that, feel free to let us know on that poll. But otherwise, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for blowing up the chat, asking so many awesome questions. Thank you, Emma, for joining us as well, running through those awesome demos. Again, as Emma mentioned, if you have other questions that pop up, feel free to shoot them our way, respond in that poll. We can reach out to you or reach out to either of us on the screen here and we will get back to you or we can set something up with your account manager or with one of us. Um, yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us and have a great rest of your week. Happy Thursday and yeah, see ya.